Just talk a little bit.
Testing. 1, 2.
Testing.
Check.
You say something.
Howdy.
Hi, I'm April.
And I'm Bailey.
We are real-life friends and neighbors.
Together we run a business called Passionist Designs.
Our favorite part of our job is being in people's homes and hearing their stories. As we became inspired by these stories, we wanted to share them with others. That's where the Nestled podcast was born.
So join us each week as we are encouraged to pursue our own design decisions based on what we love instead of what fills our Instagram feed. Every home has a story, and we can't wait to hear yours.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope
Welcome
everyone's had a good week.
We are here with one of our best friends and favorite people in the entire world.
Yes.
Woo-hoo.
We couldn't let this podcast go on any longer without introducing you to one of our very, very best friends.
Jennifer. Say hi, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here.
So normally we would do this later on, but since you're here the whole time, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about yourself and your family?
My name is Jennifer Davison. I grew up around Mobile, kind of all over the place, and we currently live in Wilmer. Me and my husband Josh, we were actually middle school sweethearts, and then we lost touch for 10 years and got back together when we were 24 and both just kind of took off from there and started dating, and then we got married about 6 months later, and we have 3 beautiful children, all girls, all have flower names: Magnolia, Carter, Rose, and Violet. We have a little house out in Wilmer, and we love it. I'm a photographer. I actually work from home. I have been doing that since 2012. I started kind of doing it, and Bailey actually kind of helped me in that. I didn't really know how to use some of the editing software, and she came over one day and we played around with it, and I found out how to do it that way.
Similar to when we had our husbands on here, we have done no prep for Jennifer or ourselves, so your guess is as good as ours for where this is going to go today.
It's raw.
Yes, and we have already laughed so hard sitting here before we even started that someone has peed their pants a little bit.
We will not say that. We will not say
that. It should be a good time.
Should be a good time.
Okay, so since you're here for the beginning today, Jennifer, why don't you tell us what you're thankful for?
Okay, this week I'm thankful for my husband. We have been married 9 years. April the 11th was 9 years, and the night before anniversary, he came in while I was bathing the kids, and he had all these bags, and I was like, "What are you doing?" We discussed no gifts. He was like, "No, he didn't," and I was like, "Okay." So he just starts pulling out, and he has this big poster board, and he wouldn't even turn it around, and the girls were like, "The anticipation, turn it around." And so anyway, he finally turned it around, and it said, "Home is wherever I'm with you." And he was like, "This is for all the bands and song lyrics that you know that I don't know that you think I'm annoyed by."
Oh.
And I just thought this was, really neat, so I got this for you. And then he pulls out this really cool, like, artistic vase, and he was like, "This is for all the art that you like that I don't get." And he pulled out a frame. He's like, "This is for all the pictures you take that at the time I don't know you're taking them, and then even the ones that I do know you're taking, we get annoyed by, but then I love to look back at them." He gave me a mug because I love to drink coffee, and it said, "I dream of shiplap." And he said, "This is for all the projects that I know you want to do that I can't really get around to, and that I'm not annoyed by that you want to do all these things. We're just in that season of life where it's really hard." And then he had me a candle that he actually did not smell, and we opened it up, and it was horrible. But he's like, "This is for all the candles that you burn that really hurt my nose because I have asthma." But he said, "I love them because you love them." And I just thought that was like the sweetest thing ever. He never ceases to amaze me in his love for me, his love for the girls, and his love for Jesus. So, yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah.
I know that's something that the three of us have always talked about, how blessed we are with good men.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that we take for granted, for sure.
No.
And definitely the easy thing to do is to, especially knowing that a lot of people don't have that, is to feel like, well, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to make other people feel bad if their husbands don't do this or whatever. But, like, I think that there's something really powerful, and we know how important words are to, especially to our husbands, and so to encourage them and just be like, "You're doing such a good job."
Right.
And I think we're thankful for our husbands this week too.
Absolutely. Just to add to that for a second, I don't think most people know this, but April and Lance did me and Justin's premarital counseling.
We did.
And one thing that April said to, by the way, we didn't know we were going to be the best of friends down the road.
Right.
Never thought we probably maybe would have had someone else start premarital counseling. We weren't best friends at the time. But one thing that April mentioned during premarital counseling is how convicted she got early in her marriage about saying anything negative about her husband, and that she kind of made the decision to speak positive things about him, and that really stuck with me. And I do think that's made an impact on our relationship long term. So that's something that I always like to encourage other women with as well. So yeah, in the spirit of being thankful for our husbands, Justin came home yesterday with flowers for me, and then flowers for April, and flowers for Miss Shirley that lives down the road. And he had Miss Shirley's Diet Dr. Pepper, and he was like, "Is this the right drink? Is this her?" And I'm like, "I don't know her favorite drink," and it was right.
Yeah. It was so sweet.
Well,
so thoughtful.
And my favorite thing about it was my kids were with him whenever he did that. And they were watching him, like, think of others. And he let them be a part of choosing something that they thought everyone would like. And I don't know. I just felt very blessed yesterday that he gets the neighbor thing, too. I'm not in it on my own.
And even, like, we were standing outside. Lance was, anyway, he had a flat tire. But, and so when the girls walked down and they were so excited about flowers, and anyway, it was a sweet spot in my day, too. I'm super thankful that Justin was so thoughtful, and that in no way was that, like, inappropriate or,
it wasn't a romantic gesture.
Right, it was just a thoughtful.
I appreciate you. And it was not just in word, it was in deed. And so the girls could probably hear us talk all day about, how we're supposed to love people, but if they don't see that put into action.
Right. Mm-hmm. Also, in the spirit of thankfulness for our husbands, my husband's been working like 14 hours a day. And so I'm just really thankful that he works so hard for our family. And this season of, it really has been the past 6 years. It's just been really hard. Mm-hmm. And we can come and we can talk to everybody and always tell them about, like, all of the sweet things and all of the good things. But, like, it's been a hard 6 years. Mm-hmm. And Lance has been bivocational for 6 years now. And he works so hard. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of kids. And it's expensive. And so I'm just really thankful for his faithfulness to love us well. And sometimes loving us well means working a lot of overtime because my kids are now getting older and we are, we're going on a trip next week with their school and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm really thankful that we have such great and supportive husbands.
And that is such a sacrifice because he hates to be gone.
Yeah.
So I think it's so easy as wives to get frustrated when our husbands aren't there and forget to step back and go, oh, they probably would rather be here.
Right.
Josh says that all the time. He's like, don't you know that I would rather be here?
Right.
He's like, y'all are my safe place. Mm-hmm. He's like, but I've got to tie up all these loose ends, and then I'm making my way to y'all.
So to get us started, I think I'm going to share how I got to know Jennifer. So the first time I met Jennifer was at a crawfish boil at our church. We came into the church a few weeks in, so city groups had already started or were going to start, and they invited us to come to theirs. So the first time I went to her house, I met her the one time, and we were actually nervous. I was thinking about that last night of, like, it's easy to be nervous to invite people into your home, but, like, it's nerve-wracking to go to somebody's house when you don't know them, too. And so we didn't even know that Josh had graduated from Auburn, that we were going to have all this stuff in common with you guys. And so we went the first night, and y'all are so welcoming, and y'all are such good hosts. Do you remember the first thing you served us?
Oh my gosh. Was it
hamburger casserole?
Stupid hamburger casserole. I knew that's where that was going.
And so, blessed
was it hanging over the side?
Well, Jen has this recipe, and she's made it a few times.
Why do I take it everywhere?
I don't know. And the biscuits on the bottom of it were totally raw. And so it was like me and Justin and a few other people who also didn't know y'all. Like, we all, like, had our plates and we were eating. And if you looked at everybody's plate, like, to the side, it was, like, the raw biscuit dough. That no one said anything out loud, but it was, I don't want to eat that.
Jen has so many gifts. So she's so good at so many things, and especially about, like, housekeeping, and there are so many things that I envy her, and bless it. Cooking is a little bit of a struggle.
Struggle is not even the word, y'all. I am so bad at cooking. It's terrible.
Look, I only shared that part of the story to say, like, it wasn't perfect. But some of the sweetest times just of our marriage and of any friendship I've ever had have happened in y'all's house.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a perfect dinner,
Right.
you know? And so just an encouragement to everybody who feels like you have to have everything just right when people
Yes.
come
Yeah.
in. That's not true. And it's funny now to look back on
so
that.
funny because I did the same thing.
If you stop making the hamburger casserole, I'll be devastated.
I know, because
Like,
I kind of
please.
perfected it, but the other night I tried to take it to a mom with a newborn, and y'all saw what happened.
Okay, you sent us a picture. But I can't tell you how much joy it brings me in April when we get pictures like that of the hamburger casserole.
But I was like, I had green beans with it
Mm.
and some salad.
We'll post the recipe in the show notes if anybody wants to
Maybe
make
y'all can do it right.
But like I said, this is one of my favorite friendships I've ever been a part of, and it happened exclusively in your home
Yes.
initially, and that's everything that we've tried to tell people about with opening your home, and it changes the relationship, and like that's how you get to the point where you're known. So do you want to share how you got to know April?
I do. When me and Josh got married, we live in Wilmer, and so he grew up in Wilmer First Baptist Church, and so his thought process was we need to be in church. And we had been going there before we got married a little bit, and then we started going there more frequently when we had Maggie. And April invited me to their small group. I ended up going, and I remember thinking it was so inviting. It had like a little side table in the entryway, and I heard everybody talking in the kitchen, and when I walked in, I was like, oh my goodness, like there's so many people here, and they're all here to talk about the Bible. And I just thought it was the neatest thing, and there was kids running everywhere. And I was like, wow. So I walked in, I just felt very welcomed, and I also remember walking in the kitchen, I immediately saw how cutely decorated everything was. And April had these beautiful little blue cabinets that she had painted. And the middle island, I didn't know at the time, was a dresser. And it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And then off to the right, she had this really pretty little sun mirror. And I remember thinking I had seen that mirror so many times and wanted it for my house, but was too chicken to buy it. And I was like, it looks so good in her house. I was like, I wish I was more bold in the things that I really love, instead of thinking that it might look goofy once I brought it home. We moved into the living room, and we started, talking about the Bible, and the kids were playing, and it was just a sweet, sweet time. And I kept telling Josh about it and wanting him to come with me, but he would make up an excuse or something about the Braves playing or whatever. and his best friend Dustin that he grew up with in the church was like, dude, what are you doing? You need to go to small group with your wife. It's one night a week. Well, he started coming, and he was like, why does everybody want to sit around and talk about the Bible? Like, this is the neatest thing ever. I've grown up in church my whole life, and this is just awesome. And then slowly going through Romans and going through the real marriage together, Christ just plucked him, and he became a believer, and then we started our journey. And then a couple months later, whenever Lance and April decided to do the church plant, we were like feeling God calling us to go with them. I just love April, and we've been friends ever since.
This is one of the real life examples of why we encourage people to open their homes, why we encourage people to like sit around the dinner table with people and to have those conversations, and to, even as Tiffany was saying in this last episode about friendships and consistency.
Yeah.
And it's not that you have to have a small group to make that happen, but if that's the, whatever in the environment that you're in,
Right.
then it's the weekly contact with people. It's the inviting them in on a regular basis and building those friendships and those relationships, and then seeing where that goes from there. And then even with Justin and Bailey learning so much about hospitality from you and Josh, and then Justin blessing our family yesterday with bringing us flowers. And so I just think that it's this really cool cyclical thing that happens where we just are like learning from one another, and we're all growing, and then we start to go, oh, this really is a great way to love people.
Yes, definitely. And also, too, I'll just piggyback on what I was talking about with coming into April's home. I love that I could put my baby in her little high chair in the corner. Like, I remember putting Maggie in there because she was such a picky eater. I would just bring her peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwiches, and I would just put her in the high chair, and she would eat. And it didn't bother April that I borrowed her child's high chair.
Yeah. And when you said about the sun mirror, that was like it was in a house that Lance was working on, and part of it was broken, and one of the little sun pieces was broken off, and I used that thing. We moved with it like 3 times.
I just say you had it in your last
using
house.
it. Yeah, because I was like, I was so poor, and I had to have something.
It's so pretty, though. I love it. Like, didn't you have it above your bed at one time?
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, and Jen, you have great style, and I feel like we've been able to watch that evolve, too. Because whenever we first started coming to your house, you had all the deer heads.
Girl, and that wicker bookcase.
Oh, yeah.
That dark wicker. what in the world?
Well, Wicker's back now. I can bring it back in.
Yeah, and Jenn is the friend that you've heard us talk about before.
The unicorn.
With the white
couches.
sofas and her 3 kids. And Jen's house is always spotless, so let's be real honest. Bailey's about to get a white slipcover, and I keep telling her
it's not going to stay white.
that she's not Jen.
She can wash it, but you can wash it. That was the thing when we first got it. I literally was growing a baby in my stomach, and people were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You can wash them," and they're like, "Okay, we'll see about that." Well, I'm pregnant with Maggie, and I went to take a bath, and I came back in, and Josh had spilt wine and chili all over the sofa.
So forget the baby.
I was like, we don't even have children yet.
Yeah.
And he was like, just standing there like, oh my gosh. And anyway, and so I was like, what have you done? He was like, I don't know. I was like, why are you even eating chili with wine? Like, those don't go together.
That's not the right pairing.
So we washed them for the first time, came clean, and we've been rocking along. Every 3 months I wash them.
I think it's important to add that mine are coming from IKEA, so they're very inexpensive, and I can get a different color very easily for an inexpensive
I'm
amount
excited
of money.
to see.
So
I'm excited to see.
I'm excited about them too. I'm just nervous for you.
Yeah. Well, and we did very strategically get a dark green chair to go across
That's
because I
so
wanted
fun.
Can't be
yellow.
washed.
Yeah, it can't be washed, but it's dark.
Yeah.
Because I wanted yellow, and Justin was like, this is not a slip cover. That's what he kept saying. We can't throw that in the washing machine.
Because
so.
didn't you have those pillows for that couch for like not even a week, and there was marker on them?
Oh, yeah. Well, Aniston used to draw on everything.
Mm-hmm.
She still does. But
It's still a thing.
it's not always a permanent mark. I don't know. If you look on the side, Maisie's name's written all over the side of that chair, but Aniston's the one that wrote it.
To try.
Yeah.
I look around our walls and I'm just like, character. We'll paint them one day, character.
We've told Aniston she can only take pictures to that door,
Those are awesome.
not the wall. So, anyway.
Washi tape.
Washi tape.
I used to say the washabilities are endless.
You've done a lot of great. We talked with Lynn about how I used to have lots of washi tape, and I don't have any in this house, so I need to add some. But you've done some really great things with washi tape in your house.
Mm-hmm. You encouraged me in that because I saw you do it with your wedding pictures above your bed.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't have money for a frame.
And washi tape you can get on clearance at Target for
That's
87
right.
cents.
Look, people, it doesn't take money.
It doesn't.
It does not take money.
So, Jenn, how would you describe this, like, the personality of your home?
I feel like you said, I've evolved. I feel like I have a love for times past. So I have like a very, my grandmother was in a camp house off of a river, and then she built a home, and it had a very farmhouse feel to it. And I've always loved that. I love the baskets, anything that's to do with old time, but I also love eclecticness. So I feel like I'm a eclectic farmhouse because our house is on 5 acres, and it, my husband's family's land goes all the way through to his parents and his grandparents' property, and I just feel like I love that. And our house does kind of look like a farmhouse. It's not white, it's like a light tan, but I love all that encompasses that. And I love art, so I've been trying to incorporate a modern eclectic farmhouse to my house. And I don't know if that's really what y'all probably think it is, but I feel like that's kind of
No, I think,
I think that's a good description.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And you are able to see the beauty in art that I feel like a lot of other people maybe would overlook. But then when you see it on your walls, it's like, that looks really great. I would have never picked that up.
Yeah.
And it looks so good.
So what would you say, your mom, the topic of your mom is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love to hear you talk about your mom.
Oh, Petula. Petula was a huge influence in my design. She was your typical 90s mom that loved home interior, but she had this deep craziness about her that when she did live downtown for a small amount of time, she had a very cute macrame feel to her stuff and wicker, and she loved genie bottles and all that kind of stuff. And I have an old, shipwrecked genie bottle that my girls till this day take the top off and think of genies in it. Especially Violet. She's like, the genie's in there,
She would have loved that, wouldn't she?
Yeah, and
Your mom would
they
be
check it
thinking
every
about
night when they get out of the tub because I bathe them in our big garden tub, and Violet comes in there with her naked booty, and she gets it and looks down in it, and she puts the top back on because she doesn't want it to get out. And so that's like a piece of my mom that we get to see every day. And she wanted to be called Goo Goo, because she just thought that would be the most awesome name ever. So she's like, they're going to call me Goo Goo. So when we talk about her now, my mom actually passed away from colon cancer right after Maggie was born, my firstborn. She battled it for 2 years. She did it with such grace. She knew Christ, and so we know that she is in glory with him. But I try to incorporate, everything I loved about her every day so my girls know her on a deep level and remember her, and that's what she would have wanted. But her style was really fun. She had no qualms about painting her room teal when we lived in Ponderosa, and it was so cute. And looking back, it was so different than what everybody else was doing. She had definitely fallen into the country clutter for a while when we first moved there, but she definitely branched out of it and really kind of zoned into what she really loved, and I always appreciated that about her.
I never got to know her, and I wish I did, but do you sometimes feel like, do I remind you of your mom?
Literally, when you talk from the side, it's like I'm hanging out with her. It's weird. I love it, but you remind me so much of my mom.
Whenever you, talk about her style and stuff, I'm like,
yeah, she's my girl.
Yeah.
She was so fun.
And the stories that you tell about the things that she told you, I'm always thinking, that's going to be my kids. I'm doing that to my kids.
Oh, and they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
She was so quirky. She was quirky in the best way. Josh still remembers, because he didn't get to know her for very long. He remembered her from when we were 13, and then he remembered her for a short period of time when we got together. But still, the little sayings that she would say, and he remembered all of it. So it's just funny the impression she leaves on people.
Well, and it's funny too to remember, when you have kids who are 13, you're not really thinking about what are their friends thinking of me, what are they going to remember about me, but man, kids are watching and remembering, and you never know who your son-in-law is going to be, or your daughter-in-law.
That's true.
Whenever those crazy kids stop by.
Yeah, Josh's sister made fun of me the first time she met me. Brandy, we came to the office and Mom dropped me off so we could go to the mall to pick out a tie for the homecoming dance. And I was really into capri pants, just really tight, almost like grease lightning. But I wore pantyhose underneath them and it was awful. And I wore them with clogs.
Do you know my favorite part about this story? I've never heard this. But now I'm listening, I'm like, okay, so you were wearing capri pants with pantyhose underneath. And Brandy was making fun of you. And she must have been, 7?
She was about 3.5 years younger. And I was 12.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's
8 years old. And she's like, that girl, what does she have on?
I was really into I don't know.
You've always been yourself.
Right.
One of my favorite stories about you, and you were in my phone as this for a long time, is that whenever you were in...
it's still in my phone.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
When you were in middle school, I think, you went on spring break and you wanted your name to be Hazel, and so you got an airbrush shirt that said Hazel because that was just going to be your new identity.
I so did. Oh my gosh, I spent $25 on that shirt.
That said Hazel.
And I rocked it for about 1.5 years. Mom was like, take it off. That is not your name.
Which your mom pulled something over on your dad when you were born too, because, tell that story. Jennifer has the best story.
Oh my goodness. My mom, the day I was born, leading up to me being born, her and Marty were talking about names, and he was really stuck on Stephanie, and she was really stuck on Jennifer, and they could not come to an agreement, and she said that he had slipped out to the bathroom, and she just wrote Jennifer on the birth certificate.
And he came back.
And she's like, well, it is what it is.
Call her Stephanie if you want, but that's not her name.
That is not who she is. And I'm glad, because I don't feel like a Stephanie. I feel like a Jennifer. I actually feel like a Hazel. That's what I feel like.
You've told us a little bit about your childhood home. What do you hope your kids remember about their home?
Oh my goodness. I hope that they remember fun. I hope they remember that, that when they were there was always a space where they could be creative and they could have fun. That's kind of what I've tried to create for my Mags, because she's an artist. So I try to create little spaces, especially in the dining room. I put a little 3-drawer dresser in the corner, and it's full of art supplies and all these little pails, full of markers, crayons and stuff. That way she can access it freely, and there's white paper in each drawer, and she can just draw for days, because she just draws all the time. And I also like to create a space around where my desk is, where I work, that my babies can sit and play with blocks or their stuffed animals, just all kinds of things that make it to where I see them, and I want them to remember being where I am.
Mm-hmm. And I think that they will. I think you do a better job than maybe anyone I know at not being annoyed with your kids being right up on you. You love that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really special, because I know even for myself at times I lose patience, and I'm like, if you don't step back.
Right.
Give me some space, but you love your babies right up underneath you.
I don't know I don't feel like I would have been like that if I hadn't lost so much in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I almost cling to them a little bit too much. But Josh says I've gotten better with every kid. He's like, you're so not helicopter-y. You know, I don't hover as much as I did. But I guess I'm always afraid to lose, which Jesus has really worked that out in me to where, you know, he tells me I have them, you know.
Right.
They're mine, you know. And so that's been easy to kind of step away from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very common fear in every mom is this fear of like, my greatest fear would be to lose a child, you know. But especially with having experienced loss, that has to be amped up. And so, I mean, it's yeah.
And I lost my dad at 5 years of age. He was killed by a drunk driver. So there's times, you know, where you feel kind of like an orphan to a degree, you know, because you don't have your parents.
Look, just because you're a grown up, adults are orphans too. I don't care if you're 60 years old and when both of your parents die. Like, that's a moment of, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I have a sweet, sweet stepdad. And so, you know, I have that connection with him. But yeah, there's just times where you're like, man, I wish they were still here to experience it all and to see my kids grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
But I can tell you this. I feel like I know your mom. I wish I could have gotten to know her for real, but the stories that you tell about your mom, and I'm so thankful that you have so many good and fun memories with her, because your kids are going to remember those stories, because she lived so big.
She did.
Well, and your kids are going to remember all that about you too.
Yes.
Because I think you're probably a lot like your mama.
I just hope they remember all the good. And not all the days where I feel like I've completely failed them.
Yeah. No,
well, you're hard on yourself.
Yes, you are. You're a very good mom.
You're a lot harder on yourself. Maybe I should be more hard on myself. But I'm always just like, well, I'm doing what I can.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow's a new day. I brushed off the day pretty easy going into the next one.
So, Jennifer, you and Josh both are so great at inviting people into your home. Like, your home is very open. You are very hospitable, even whenever it's difficult. What are just some practical ways? Like, was that something that was easy for you to invite people in? Is that something that just has always kind of been part of who you are, or has it been a struggle at times?
I feel like it's always been there, but I didn't really tap into it right away. Because now that we do it and it's so every day, and 6 years now we've been doing it, I feel like it has become a gift. Like, I feel like, okay, this is the lane I want you to stay in. Just stay here, you know. And so, but no, right away, there were times where I probably was a little apprehensive because I didn't feel like my space was how I wanted it. And then over time, I feel like just really feeling like I was finding my identity in Christ, and then letting everything else kind of flow out of that and being like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
Like, I can have everybody in here and they can see who I really am. And I feel like through relationships and through having people in, you kind of grow in that, and you're like, you know what? Everybody's so happy when they come over. And it's so much fun. Why am I worried about all these different variables and things? Just keep that open door policy, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, whenever they start living that way, whenever they get burned the first time, they kind of shut off. And I think we've seen you go through a lot of like trials and things with other people, and y'all are so patient and steadfast and loyal, and you hang in there a lot longer than most people do on really difficult instances.
In relationships.
To the point where a lot of times I'm like, they are using them, and I'm not okay with it. You know what I mean? But y'all stick it out with people, and I think there's something to be said for that, and there's also something to be said for, we got hurt, but that doesn't mean we're not going to keep welcoming people into our lives.
Right.
So.
I think that was something that me and Josh kind of agreed on from the get-go, that was like, Jesus is constant, and so we're called to be that way, and that we're always going to fail people are always going to fail us, but he's constant, you know. And so, and we're not in this to, you know, people please, and we're, you know, so it was something that we just wanted to be faithful in, and that even when it was a week where we were so tired, that we knew that having everybody over, we were going to be blessed from it, rather than being like, man, we're not going to open up our home today. Right. Today was tough, you know, instead of being like, you know what, why don't we open up our home and talk about how hard it was?
Right.
Well, and I think that's one reason why so many of your relationships are so meaningful, because y'all are so open with the hard stuff. And you've gone through a lot of hard stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen people who have also gone through a lot of hard stuff really open up around you because of that, because you're open and honest with stuff, whether it's what's going on currently or stuff in your past. So.
Right. And one of the things that I am constantly telling people that feel shame from their past or feel like they don't want to share parts of themselves is that God doesn't waste any of your story. Like, he uses it all. And I think that you are such a testament to that, of like, you allow the Lord to use you and the hurts and the past and all those things to share openly and to be like, look, if this encourages somebody, then it's worth it. And in a way of, you're not trying to make much of yourself or trying to make yourself look better than you are, because we, you know, our tendency is to like, well, I don't really want people to see me in that light. But in doing that, you are showing what Christ has done in you and that he's still working that out in you. And I just think that it's a really beautiful thing to see, because we've been able to watch for the last 6 years as God has used you in so many people's lives. And I think that so many of those relationships and conversations have started around your dinner table and in your living room on your white couches. And so it's just a really sweet thing.
What is a space in your house that you're really loving right now?
I have a 100-year-old China hutch that was originally white. Like, when it was built and painted, it was white. And my mom, Patala, did not like it in the 90s, and she did it like this dark green, which at the time I wasn't really into, but always really liked, kind of incorporated into other patterns. And she put these little knobs on them that have a little house and just a little home. I don't know, it's just so neat looking how we open our home now. And I moved it. Sorry, you guys.
Well, we started out crying laughing, and I was like, we're all going to cry about it because we've already broken the seal.
It's terrible. It's so terrible. Okay, I'm going to try to keep it together. It was originally in my corner forever by our dining room table. Just here recently, I was like, I just want to shift it. I want to make that little corner for Mags and the girls when they come in and do their homework. And I want to move this into the kitchen by the bar. I have all my favorite little pieces in it and all my favorite little dishes that I've collected, and some of them are my mom's. And I just think it's neat how we open up our home every week and there's these little homes on these knobs. And how God kind of orchestrated all that out. And it may be stupid and silly, but I just feel like it was something that she had put on there and that I didn't necessarily like in the beginning. I think that's our life in general. There's things that we don't like when we're in it.
Right.
But when you're moving towards a goal and you're finally, you're not there, but you feel like, wow, okay, I'm kind of seeing what you're doing here, God. And through those little knobs, I feel like he's, showing me that.
It's just a reminder.
Right, and it's such a dilapidated little China hutch. The bottom of it is chipping away, and I don't know how to fix it, but I just love it. I love it. It has so much character, and I broke the glass in the doors, and so they're like cased openings now, and you can reach in there and get your oranges. I actually started putting my little wooden basket in there full of oranges, and that's where I grab my oranges every day. I just love it. I love that, and I love a little gallery wall that I started above my desk in the living room, and I want it to eventually just cover the whole corner of our living room. I love my little toddler room. It's dark blue with white toddler beds, and it's one of my favorite rooms in the house.
You went dark in that room before everybody was going dark again. You've always been good about making bold choices like that. And thinking about the little China hutch, I've always loved that, like, when everyone was painting everything white, you kept it. It's like a Kelly green, would you say?
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's almost like
country,
like a 90s green.
Yeah,
it is.
It's not
green.
like hunter green, and it's not like Kelly green.
It is. It's very 90s, which is, I think, probably going to come back around now.
That color is very in right now.
Yeah, but it wasn't in, and I always loved that you kept that color in away because that's what your mama picked. And I thought that was really sweet. Yeah. And anyway, it's made its way back around now. So
Okay, so love it or leave it.
Oh, I love this.
to close out the episode, this is our favorite part every week.
I was hoping to do this.
Okay, it's gonna be off the top of our heads.
Yes.
Okay.
Macrame.
Love it.
Chalkboards. Where are you on chalkboards right now?
I have one in my house. I feel like too many of them is overkill. I like one subtle one in the house to put your favorite saying, or right now mine is a wreath and it just says home in the middle of it.
Thinking about flowers, because in honor of Justin, who bought flowers yesterday, what do you think of carnations?
Carnations? Like on your table in your kitchen?
Just in
the
general,
flowers.
do you like
I'm
them?
not a huge fan of them. I'm picky about my flowers, though.
The reason that popped in my head today is I was thinking, whenever I went and got my wedding flowers done, I wanted all white everything. And I brought pictures of, like, peonies and, like, hydrangeas and things, and was like, I just want all white. And she's like, is there anything you don't want? And nothing came to my head. And y'all, my entire floral arrangements were like carnations. It was like,
At the reception.
okay, so if I was gonna say don't put something, it would be the white funeral carnations all over all
Yeah,
my
they're
wedding
just not my
flowers,
favorite.
but-
They've never been my favorite.
Yeah, same. What about houseplants?
Oh my goodness, I want to do it so bad.
Look, I got one.
Yeah, I found 4 that help you sleep, like to put in your bedroom, and I wanted to start with those before I committed to anything in our kitchen. So I wanted to get a few for our bedroom just to help with sleep.
Well, I hope Justin listens to this because I heard him giggling with some men at our house the other night, and I knew they were making fun of me. Something. And I went in there to check it out, and he was making fun that I had read that houseplants purify the air. He was saying, like, stay in this section of the kitchen, you'll breathe in our good air.
Josh throws me under the bus and stuff like that all the time, but I just know that he is very logical, and I love that about him. He is.
He keeps you grounded.
Yes, he does. If it is not functional,
Yeah.
Right?
it's got to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so in light of purifying, love it or leave it, essential oils.
I've never done them, and I want to do them so bad.
You haven't?
See, I've had 2 people actually want to sell me the bundles, and then something would come up, and I'd never buy it, but I've always wanted to do them.
I could see you being, like, such a witch doctor
Yeah.
with your oils.
Pat.
Because you
Little
always
Pat.
would do stuff for one
With
time.
Aniston.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then you helped me one night, and you rubbed lavender on the bottom of Carter's feet, and she slept so good, and that should have
Oh,
sold
yeah, because
me on
Carter
it.
used to not sleep. Well, if it makes you feel any better,
The
lavender does
lavender
not
doesn't
affect
help
Miller.
Miller.
So it's not foolproof. It is not foolproof.
Uh,
But no, I want a diffuser. I feel like it would, like you said, just kind of purify and just kind of, because I do love candles, and I feel like the majority of the reasoning behind burning candles is I just love the smell. So I would love something that was a little bit more
I
organic.
know. It would be good for Josh's breathing.
yes,
His asthma.
there are some oils that are great for asthma. Okay, love it or leave it, toys in the living space.
I love it. Just because I love to see my babies, and I like that at the end of the day we have a little toy box and we have bins, and everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and they pick up. We have one down at the end of our hall, and Maggie has one in her bedroom, and we have one in the living room, and mainly because we have 3 girls, and they all have their own little initial on the back of it because their pappy made them. But I do love that there's a place for everything to go when small groups over.
Yeah.
It's important to note that you're the cleanest person I know.
Yes.
So when you say that, like, everything gets picked up, like, legit everything gets picked up.
Jen doesn't sleep if there are dishes in the sink.
I have dishes in my sink from last night. I know when she walked in my kitchen, I was like, ignore my dishes.
No, y'all, my house
There's
is not
dishes in my
clean right
sink,
now.
too.
I have gotten so lax with 3 kids.
Stop it.
No, it's not
I
true.
really-
Look, Jen told us a story one time about how she was so embarrassed at small group because her bedroom door got left open and there was a load of clean laundry on her bed.
That was after 3 kids.
On her made-up bed.
On her made-up bed. Yeah.
I'm like, it's small group, if anyone opens the door to my
Oh my
bedroom,
gosh.
things will fall on you.
Oh my gosh.
That's where I stick everything that I didn't have time to actually put where they go.
Yeah, we're not making fun of that. Like,
No,
I
I really
aspire
have-
to that.
Want to be as clean as Jennifer.
No,
So
I'm telling y'all, I do have good days, but I do have days where things are like right now. My house is kind of in disarray because I've had to do a lot of editing this week.
But
promise.
truly, I know that when you say the toys, the toys don't get picked up at my house while they're not allowed in here.
Yeah.
The baby has toys in here because she's not allowed in the playroom, and that's it.
Right.
So, in the spirit of toys and living space, what about whenever people turn their dining room into a playroom?
Their dining room into a playroom.
Uh-huh.
I don't like that. Mainly because like I wish we had more dining room seating. No, I don't think I would like that. But I also have an open floor plan.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I love having a designated dining room. Because it's so important to me, around the table.
Mhm.
I mean, that's our everyday, like that's, we try. But,
Yeah.
like our family meals are so precious to us. And like, I mean, I hope that everyone has a designated dining space.
Love it or leave it. Deer heads. Deer mounts.
I like the skull mounts.
Okay.
I love raw bone. I have a lot of Josh's raw bone, just the raw antlers around the house, and I love skull mounts. I don't like them overkill. I like them incorporated into one gallery wall or just above a bed.
Okay, love it or leave it. TVs above the fireplace.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I love, there's so much more you can do above a mantle than a TV.
Right.
I shut my doors to my entertainment center that is probably dated, but I love it because I can shut the doors. It was given to us by Josh's parents, and I eventually will probably maybe paint it, or I may keep it the wood color that it is just because I love that I can shut the doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, also, you could leave a TV.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
You love old movies,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not, like, addicted to your television the way.
No, I mean, the girls watch a little bit of cartoons in the morning, but we love to be outside.
Do you have anything else that you want to share?
Just how much y'all have encouraged me. You know, I think there's times women, you know, they don't feel, because everybody has different tastes and everybody does different things in their homes, I think you can feel like sometimes, well, I'm not really doing what is popular right now. But I love that y'all embrace all the different things that women like, and, you know, and you help them, you know, make a space what's going to make them happy, you know, because like right now I'm sitting in your home and I love it, everything about it, but it is not, you know, it's not what's making me tick, and it's not what, you know, I would want necessarily in my home. There's things I love about it, but there's something about when you feel comfortable in your space and you feel like, oh, I've got everything how I like it, and y'all never really steer people away from that. Y'all embrace that, and it's just been really encouraging to me. And from knowing y'all, you know, doing life with y'all in the past, and then seeing this journey that y'all have been on, and then listening to all these other women that y'all have interviewed, it has just really inspired me to just get more in my home and make it more hospitable, make it more of a gathering space to where I'm more confident, therefore people that come in can be more confident to share and to grow.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Well, we love you so much.
I know.
I love y'all too.
I feel like we talk about you in code all the time. On the
We're
podcast.
like our friends.
So now we're going to be like, Jennifer, who was on episode 24.
Thank y'all for
So
having
thank
me.
you for coming on, even if we made you
Yes,
nervous.
No, I'm fine. The nerves are gone.
Good. All right. Hey guys, it's Bailey. I'm actually all by myself this week. April is at a technology convention, field trip, something, with her big kids, and so she is dealing with much more complicated matters than what I've got going on here at the Posh Nestled headquarters. But I just wanted to pop on and say thank you again to Jennifer. I hope you guys were so encouraged listening to her. She is just one of our most precious and treasured friendships, and everyone should be so lucky as to have a Josh and Jennifer Davison in their life. So we love you guys. I also wanted to give a little update on April's behalf. For those of you who are involved with the cat story that has been a saga that is ongoing, this weekend in Mobile we were expecting some really bad weather on Saturday night, and on Saturday afternoon, April was granted custody of the remaining 3 kittens in the litter of the original 2 kittens that she got. The mom came and left those at her house as well. So her husband Lance is at home with the younger kids this week, and a dog and 4 cats that he is now bottle feeding. So shout out to you, Lance, for taking care of animals that you want nothing to do with. And also shout out to the Davisons, who are going to take 2 of those cats off their hands very soon. We would love to have you guys join us over on Instagram. We love to chat with you over there. It has been so much fun to us getting to know you. So keep interacting with us, please. It really brings us so much joy. We are on there as Nestled Podcasts. You can also find us on our website, which is poshnestdesigns.com. And you can find us on iTunes. We would be so grateful if you would leave us a rating and or review. Thank you guys again for listening. It humbles us each week as we watch the numbers roll in. We are so honored that you care to hear what we have to say. And so keep sticking it out with us. We got some fun guests coming up that we can't wait for you to hear from. We will be back next week.